Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. It's all about brown skin wellness. That's right. We're excited to have our next guest joining us again, Lisa Deveaux. She's the owner of the company. She's currently located in Brooklyn, New York, and helping so many people with Pilates, with menopause, with so much. I know it's going to be today's big topic, but there's so much more to Lisa and what she has to offer. Welcome back. How are you today?
I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm fantastic. So please introduce yourself to everyone. I know we've gotten the pleasure of speaking before, but they may not know you yet. So let's fill them in.
Sure. I'm Lisa Deveaux. I am the founder of Brown Skin Wellness. We do Pilates, yoga, and meditation programs, wellness programming for corporate entities as well as nonprofits and individuals. I specifically offer private one-on-one sessions at a location in Midtown Manhattan on 29th Street between 6th and 7th. And you can contact us at hello@brownskinwellness.com. You can find us on Instagram at Brown Skin Wellness, LinkedIn, and Facebook, all at those handles.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for
I'm a Pilates instructor, certified Pilates instructor. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot on her plate. She wears many, many hats. And the website, brownskinwellness.com. Of course, you can reach her there, and you offer classes in person and online. And today in particular, I know we're going to talk more about those ladies out there, which I'm nearing menopause myself. I'm 46, so it's happening. But there's so many benefits through Pilates that could help us with. So first and foremost, just tell me an overview of Pilates for people that may not know, and then we'll get into how, this could be good for those undergoing the changes.
Sure. Pilates is a mindful movement practice. You can do it once a week. You could do it every day, because you can change up, the movements that you do, focusing on different muscle groups. Pilates is a really great mind-body connection, helping you to become self-aware of what's going on in your body. And very often you discover muscles that you didn't know were there. And you can do it on the mat, or you can use equipment to do it. You always want to work with a certified instructor. Very often you may find in PT clinics and physical therapy offices, they may have a Pilates instructor on staff to help because it can be rehabilitative in nature. But it's a great way to lengthen, improve your posture, strengthen the muscles, get the core strong, tone, improve your balance. It's amazing.
And I'm thinking back to the days that I used to do Pilates. It's been a long time, so I feel it. It's coming back. As a mom right now, I'm taking a break. I know the whole self-care thing, I'm on the back burner. It is what it is. But ladies out there, especially us easing into our 40s, 50s, it happens, this thing called menopause. Tell us a little bit about what's happening to our bodies and, the physical changes that are happening during menopause that, Pilates can maybe help us with.
Absolutely. So before you actually get to menopause, you have perimenopause and then you have premenopause. So let me talk
Which
about
one's first? I don't know. Yeah. Thank you.
So premenopause is that stage between right after puberty when you get your first menstruation cycle to the time in which you get to that perimenopause state where you start to experience irregularities.
Okay.
So in premenopause, you are getting your cycle on average in general, every 21, 28 days, right? And you're going through all the motions that come with that, right? And then when you get to perimenopause, you start to mildly experience, maybe mildly, maybe not, because everybody's experience with menopause is extremely unique. No two women have the same experience. So the menu of symptoms, headaches, irregular periods, bleeding in between periods, fatigue, restless sleep, insomnia, it runs the gamut, right? All these different things can happen. You start to feel hot. You start to have night sweats. You start to have day sweats, right? All these things. And during perimenopause, you're still getting your period.
Okay.
But you may start to get some of these symptoms because right now what's starting to happen is the hormones are just starting to change a little bit, right? Then when you're in and your cycle may become irregular.
Okay.
So that's like the woman that's typically in general, you're in your 40s maybe, and it can happen earlier, but in general, you're in your 40s and you're starting to experience these symptoms and your cycle is irregular. So it might come this month and then you don't see it for 60 days and then all of a sudden it comes again, right?
Yep.
A woman that's considered
all right. Yeah.
A woman in full-blown menopause doesn't experience her cycle for a full 12 consecutive months.
Oh.
If you go 12 consecutive months without having a period, that means you are in full-blown menopause.
Oh, wow.
And it can last 2 years, it can last 5 years, but basically that's kind of, those are the stages.
Oh,
right?
my gosh. All right.
And yeah. And when you're in your somewhere around your 30s, you actually start to lose bone density. Your bone density starts to change. Your bone health starts to change. And your muscle mass also starts to decline. So, which is why it's important to start moving as soon as possible, right? Whether you're in your 20s, your 30s, your 40s, your 50s, you need to move, you need to exercise, you need to support your bone health and your muscle mass because the muscles support the bones and you need the bones to be able to walk, you know, to get through all the things that we do in life, you know, to be able to move.
Well, I found out that I have the osteopenia now. Hello, that's the stage before osteoporosis.
Oh.
Yeah, and there's nothing they could do. Take more calcium.
Yes.
Well, that's all I could do. They don't give you the drugs that can restore the bone called like Boniva until you're in menopause. I'm like, what? But then there's things like hormones, and so like this is all good to hear today. So I'm listening intently. I'm so curious because I do have partial bone loss at this point.
Right. So I can tell you that after menopause, after the postmenopause, your bone density can decline up to 20% very rapidly within a very short 5 to 7 year window. One of the things that I have learned in working with some of my clients who are older than I am, their bone density numbers actually improved by doing Pilates with me. Right. And that's from doing just the mat work.
Really?
So I can tell you. Now, I can't say scientifically, however, you know, like but just in my experience and my observation, what I have seen, the numbers get better. So with that, it's important for you, my darling, to start moving, right? You need to come up with a regimen, some type of program, Pilates, yoga. You need to move. You need to get that muscle tone. You need to maintain that muscle tone, upper body strength, right?
Yeah.
And work those legs, you know, take care of those hips. You need to start moving so that you don't, because the older you get, the higher the likelihood that you can get a bone fracture.
Wow.
And the sooner you, because if that means your bone density, your numbers are declining, right?
Yeah.
If you start exercising those muscles, working those muscles and toning up, you can potentially improve or stabilize it, at least slow it down.
Thank you.
At least slow it down. Yeah.
Wow.
So upper body work, weights, strength training, which you can get from Pilates. It's really important to maintain your balance, right? Because it's great for your balance. All the footwork, exercising the muscles in your foot. You want to maintain that balance. You don't want to, you know, lose the control of those muscles and lose that bone density where, you know, you're losing your balance, you fall, you fracture something. It takes that much longer to rehabilitate and to heal the older you get, right? When you break something, you really want to protect those muscles by starting and I recommend Pilates personally, but
Of course. And you mentioned hormonal fluctuations and mood. Oh my goodness, because we get moody, right? So Pilates though can help alleviate all this and even improve sleep, you said, right?
Yeah, definitely. Like when I get one of the things I find, especially if I'm doing like an all day workshop and I'm moving my muscles all day and I'm trying different things, that night, because those muscles have been like massaging my spine and massaging my bones, that night, it was like I went for like a whole spa day or something.
Awesome.
Because I sleep so good. Yeah. So it's really good for your sleep. It definitely can help you sleep. But again, one size doesn't fit all. You really have to play and experiment and find the right combination of things that work for you. I definitely recommend Pilates. In terms of like the mood swings, I know probably when I was like maybe 10, 15 years ago, I would go to Pilates like twice a week, Tuesday, Thursday, Tuesday, Thursday, Tuesday, Thursday. And when I didn't go, I had a friend that she would say, she'd be talking to me, she goes, "You didn't go to Pilates on Thursday, did you?" Because, you're a little cranky.
Amazing, right? So what it could do to boost our hormones overall being from this. Awesome.
Yep. Really just a mood booster, right?
That's
just
the word I'm looking
breathing,
for.
becoming mindful, connecting to your body and, feeling good about what you're doing, because as you're doing Pilates, right, you're going to see differences in your bodies. After 10 sessions, you're going to see a difference.
Yep.
After 20 sessions, you're going to feel different. After 30 sessions, you'll have a whole new body. And that's what Joseph Pilates himself said. And I really find it to be true personally. The more you do it, the stronger you feel, the more confident you feel. Beautiful. Visceral fat is a thing that women get right through the midsection, right?
Yep.
As their hormones start to change. And visceral fat is the fat that's potentially dangerous coming around the abdomen, because it can contribute to, or has been known to contribute to, heart disease and stroke and arthritis and dementia. Amazing. Which is another reason why you really want to get that core strong. You really want to get the muscles in the abdominals area stronger and toned and, working for you. The other thing I wanted to say is incontinence is an issue as well, right?
Guilty.
Like you can't hold the pee as good as you used to when you were younger.
That pelvic floor has been dragging since childbirth. Floor. God bless you for bringing that up. It's true. Women, it happens to all of us. Thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah, you got to keep the pelvic floor muscles really, really strong. And it not only is good for your bladder and just holding it in when you got to really go so bad, but it's good for your sex life, right? It's really good for your sex life. You want to keep the muscles in the vaginal wall strong so, they work the way they're supposed to when you need them to. So that's also another thing. And all of these things affect how we feel, affect our mood, how we see ourselves, right? Yeah. So all of it's really important stuff. And Pilates can definitely help with that.
Perfect. And we're going to talk more about that as well. Tell us how we can reach you in the meantime.
In the meantime, I can be reached hello@brownskinwellness.com. The website is brownskinwellness.com. Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn at Brown Skin Wellness. And our phone number, 718-772-9101. If you want to just chat and talk about menopause or Pilates or how to just get a unique customized program for yourself. Beautiful. I'm here for you.
All right. Yeah. So we were just discussing pelvic floor health, and I know you mentioned incontinence, but also prolapse. Now, that's something that happened to me after my first birth, and no one even told me what prolapse would be. Next thing you know, I'm at the doctor. I'm like, something's not right down there, something. Lo and behold, okay, you have your cervix is prolapsed, your bladder's prolapsed, and I'm like, what? Like, what does that even mean? And then having to go to the doctor to try to do the exercises, and, one day need surgery. It's gotten better, but still, still, it is so uncomfortable. And to strengthen those walls, what type of exercises do women do? Like, is that like Kegels in a sense, or just curious?
Kegel exercises definitely helps. Like, you can go and get a set of those balls, and you could start with small ones, really small ones to start, just to get that sensation. But one of the Pilates exercises that's really good for that is bridging. Right?
What's that?
You lie down on your back.
Okay.
You bend your knees. So you're lying down on your back. You bend your knees. Your feet are flat on the floor, hip distance apart. You press your arms into the floor, and you just float your hips and your torso up, engaging the glutes, engaging the hamstrings, and pulling the abs in.
Okay.
You will activate the pelvic floor with bridges. And then you can pulse the hips up. Now, a lot of people have tight hamstrings. So they might cramp. As soon as they go up into that bridge. You want to stretch the hamstrings out first, right? And you can do that by simply lengthening that leg, flexing the foot, and you'll feel that hamstring stretch right out. Or even if it's available to you, you stand with both feet on the floor. You just take your hands, you bend over, you put your hands on the floor, keep your hands down, and bend and straighten the knees. See how straight you can get those knees by just being in a forward fold, right?
Okay, thank you.
That will stretch those hamstrings, and then you'll be ready to bridge. You can also bridge with your feet heels together or toes apart, which will activate the hamstrings and the glutes more. Right? So you may feel it more when you come into that bridge, or you can do it with your feet hip distance apart and just come right up into that bridge.
Got it. Thank you for that. All right. I'm learning. I'm sitting here thinking about it, trying to figure it out. Got it. All right. And by the way, these are you, if we reach out to you, can give us specifics of this, right?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. You reach out. I can give you more. I can give you a whole program. Yeah. You want to get the muscles, the upper body strength, your arms strong to protect the muscles in the arms and the wrists and the elbows. Your shoulders. A lot of women experience frozen shoulder for some reason in this stage. And I don't know what that is. Like, what is that attributed to? Like, is frozen shoulder somehow connected to hormones? But it's a very common
Never
thing.
Heard of it until today.
Yeah, frozen shoulder. Yeah, like the shoulder kind of freezes up.
Okay.
Yeah. So and it limits your range of motion.
All right.
So I don't know now, that I haven't really discovered in terms of what that could be attributed to, but it is a common thing.
Got it. But clearly you're here to really tailor to each and every individual's needs, right? To give us that routine that can help us. And do you want to discuss the importance of that to working with someone like yourself, a qualified, Pilates instructor?
Yeah, you want to definitely work with someone who is trained and certified to teach the method. You want to make sure that you're getting into the proper form. One of the reasons that's really important is we all have really unique circumstances. Some of us have lower back issues or herniated discs, scoliosis.
Yep.
You might have, issues with that sciatic nerve, which a lot of people don't realize. But the piriformis muscle, which happens to be a pelvic floor muscle, needs to not be compressed, not so tight. So Pilates is a great way to stretch that muscle and also get it stronger to support your bladder, right? And to support the muscles in the vaginal area. But the piriformis also affects your back. It's one of those muscles, I think it goes from the back to the front, and it attaches to the femur bone in the front. So you always want to make sure that you are strengthening that muscle and you are lengthening that muscle as well. So you want to get it strong, you want to get it stretched out.
Perfect. Thank you for that. And again, as our expert here with Pilates, I just want to also point out that you do at brownskillwellness.com, you have live Zoom sessions available, right? And
yes, we do live Zoom sessions.
Oh, go ahead. What's coming up next? I know you do wellness programs. Where can we find you next?
Next, we don't have anything on the calendar just yet, but we are planning. It's in the works in January, right around the inauguration. We are planning to do a wellness event for women who feel that they need to be supported as this transition of power happens. We are planning to do a wellness event where we're going to breathe, we're going to stretch, we're going to talk, we're going to connect to our emotions, and we're going to move.
Beautiful.
Yeah, we're going to move. Yeah.
And
so that's coming in January.
Yeah.
So more details to come on that.
And, you mentioned it's not only helping the body, obviously the physical aspect of it, but it's really helping the mind and the spirituality as well.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. It is good for mind, body, and spirit. You want to feel that flow of movement and that flow of oxygen. And, that there's something about being able to quiet the mind as you move and as you breathe. It connects you to a deeper connection to your spirit. You kind of become, over time, maybe multisensory is a word that you might experience.
Good word. Yeah. I guess so. That's all right. Well, I'm glad, you've touched upon, obviously, menopause, which is something so important for us ladies, and about how, this can really help with, reducing that type of stress. And could you just share for those that may not know, I know you have an extensive dance background. Just give us a little overview of you, because there might be new listeners on here today that haven't, experienced, you yet, and learned what brought you here to start this company.
Well, I'm a business analyst and a project manager. So I work in financial services. I felt really unfulfilled in my career for a long time and wanted to do more meaningful work. And so I went on a yoga retreat, a 8 day yoga retreat in Bali. And I came back and decided to get my Pilates certification.
Wow.
And so I started to do that, and then started teaching during the pandemic, and kind of went from there and grew from there. A colleague asked me to design a program for the clients in her nonprofit organization. And when I started thinking about it, I sat on it for a while, didn't do anything. And then she kept asking me. And then I said, all right, if I'm going to do this, I need to put all the things in place to make that happen. So I started the company and went through all the things that you have to do to be able to do that, insurance and blah, 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 blah. So,
and here you are.
And here I am.
All right. Well, we still have 4 or 5 minutes left in the show. So what else do you want to make sure we cover for today?
I think it's important for women to know that you don't need to start a Pilates practice tied to menopause when you're in menopause. The time to start is as soon as possible. The time to start is now. In your 30s, you actually start to lose muscle mass and bone mass right then at a rate of about 0.7%. And so you want to maintain those bones. You want to maintain those muscles. You want to keep your balance. You want to minimize the likelihood of falling. You want to be more taking care of your body mentally, physically, and spiritually. Pilates is the thing to start at any time. You don't have to wait until you're 47 or 50 or 55 to start. I have clients in their 80s and I have clients in their 20s. So as a woman specifically, you really want to protect those bones and protect those muscles and make sure that you minimize anything that could be adverse to your body, because it affects your cardiovascular health, your bone health, your muscle mass, your mental health. It's really a holistic approach, a holistic modality for sure.
I know we're talking about the ladies, but men out there might be listening saying, hey, what about me? I like Pilates. Do you work with men?
Pilates is, absolutely. I work with men. We just happen to be talking about menopause.
Yep. Just letting them know if someone's out there. But hey.
I definitely have male clients, a lot of men that sit all day long they get those tight hips and they need to loosen those hips. And the same thing applies, that piriformis muscle putting pressure on that sciatic nerve and creating back pain. You want to open that up. And I have plenty of exercises and movements that you can do to just open up those hips.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much. And how did you want to end off for today?
You can breathe through anything in this life. Anything. Just inhale really deep, take a pause, 3 breaths, and then keep going. Don't give up.
Thank you so much. And if we want to reach out to you, would you mind sharing all forms of contact?
Lisa@brownskinwellness.com. hello@brownskinwellness.com. brownskinwellness.com is the website. 718-772-9101 is our phone number. Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook @BrownSkinWellness.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Pleasure having you here and looking forward to the next time we connect, Lisa. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Have a great day, sweetheart. Enjoy the chilly weather. It's cold out there.
Oh,
you know, right?
It is.
Have you been out?
I have. I was out at 6 o'clock this morning teaching.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
That's a way to warm up.
7 o'clock. Yeah.
God bless you. Oh, my goodness. Well, thank you so much for being here, and we'll chat next week, okay? Have a great day.
Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
What I know about courage, I learned from my adoptive mom. She said sometimes you just gotta hold on and know we'll get through this. Mom, we are so high up. Hold my hand.
No, you hold my hand.
Here we go.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more.
I learned patience from my adoptive dad. All he had to say was,
"Hey, you got this. Just breathe." Hey, we're pretty good.
yeah,
Might have to start a band.
I got it.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more. This message is brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.